My name is Pamela Poniatowski from Rhode Island. I'm one of the tri-chairs of the Rhode Island Poor People's Campaign. Policies have been keeping us in poverty, and it is time for those in power to allocate funds not toward the top 10%, but towards the bottom 90%. It is time to change our policies through voting. The only way we can change this country for the better is if we, the people that are poor and low wealth, some working 3 jobs, have a voice. How can someone with 3 jobs fit into a pared-down voting schedule? Without voting rights, we will not have a voice, and we are aware that there are those that would prefer that we did not have a voice, as is seen by all of the voter suppression bills that have come out across this nation since the very secure election of 2020. There are 140 million of us living at or below the poverty line. Over 100,000 of us live in Rhode Island, which is home to only 1 million people. The poverty line for 2022 is $12,880 for one person for the year. $12,880. Think about what you can buy with that. Let me share with you what I can't get with that. I can't get an apartment. After working for 30 years, I became disabled and have been on a waiting list for housing since 2018, staying in friends' guest rooms. But what about those that do not have a guest room in which to stay? There are 2,000 people that have no place to live in Rhode Island, many of them still on the street during the freezing temperatures. Insufficient housing is a crisis in this country. A recent letter I received from one of the housing developments told me that I do not make enough money to qualify for the low-income housing. And they were talking about the extremely low-income housing. They actually have levels. We need policies that will lift people from the bottom, because this trickle-down theory does not work. Between redistricting that is gerrymandered to keep certain political groups in power and making it difficult for people that are poor and low wealth to vote, we will only be hearing from those with money. And I guarantee that they do not understand our plight. All men were given the right to vote in 1870, and those of us that are women were given the right to vote in 1920. Dr. Martin Luther King, John Lewis, all of the other people involved in SNCC and the civil rights movement sustained many injuries in years of nonviolent protest for our right to vote. They got them in 1965, and we lost many of them in 2013. And we are losing more each time a state passes a voter suppression bill. It is time to get those rights back. Voting rights to save our democracy, the Build Back Better bill to rebuild our human infrastructure. Senators, Mr. President, get it done. Rhode Island Poor People's Campaign will be organizing with the rest of the states to see you in Washington, June 18th, 2022. Please join us.
We welcome you to the launch of the Mass Poor People's Low-Wage Assembly and Moral March on Washington, D.C., June 18, 2022.
And we need to do it with the biggest actions possible.
Because we know the only scarcity is the moral will to do what's right.
Veterans across this nation say enough is enough.
My voice is just as valuable as anyone else's.
We need the third Reconstruction.
We have an immoral system run by immoral people.
But together we fight.
And we become an agent of change.
We're rising up to demonstrate the compelling power that we, poor and low-income people, have to reconstruct society from the bottom up. It's time for a change!
We are people of resilience.